playing ground at Chadwell Heath for a kickabout if we didn't have to train on a Saturday. We thought that we could do what we wanted, and our presence didn't seem to bother anybody. We could even count on the kit man to make sure we were wearing proper training gear, and our impromptu sessions paid off when, much to our astonishment, Di Canio spotted us while he was getting treatment from his physio and came over to play with us. We couldn't believe it, and thankfully we managed to hold our own. Hearing Di Canio say he couldn't believe our technique for young kids was one of the best moments of my life. It was all we could talk about on the coach home. Imagine what it was like for a couple of kids to get that kind of praise from Di Canio. I want to be a footballer so bad, I thought. So bad. It had given me a taste, but the standards at West Ham were so high. I looked up to Joe Cole, who was a few years above me in the academy. I was a ball boy when West Ham thrashed Coventry City in the FA Youth Cup final in 1999, with Joe stealing the show. And I remember sitting near him during a game against Middlesbrough earlier in the tournament. Joe wasn't playing, and he caught me off guard when he heard me praising Middlesbrough's number 10. He wouldn't get near me if I was on the pitch, Joe said. I just exchanged awestruck looks with my dad, taking it all in, and realised how much I still had to learn. That's the sort of confidence I've got to have to make it, I thought. That's the sort of self-belief I've got to have. Yet I had a different character to Joe. I was a shy kid, and I never really had his self-confidence. One of my biggest strengths was my drive. I was ready to give everything I had to play for West Ham. They were my second family. It was about soul and belonging. I was a local boy, a West Ham fanatic, and I didn't want anything to stop my dream from becoming a reality. It mattered too much to me. After all, I only lived round the corner. 1. Claret and blue blood. Growing up in East London meant that West Ham were in my blood. My life was all about football when I was young. My earliest memory is living on Jenkins Road, opposite the fire station in Plaistow, and having a playing field backing onto our house. My dad Mark cut a small square in the back fence to let us through, then used a spanner to open up the metal barrier blocking access to what would become my first football pitch. And once the path was clear, everyone in the area used to go there to play football after school. They were special times. Robert Hatton, one of my teammates from those games, is still one of my best friends. He lived near our school in Custom House, Rosetta Primary School, and nobody could separate us. My routine was that I would get up, head to the corner shop to buy a Milky Bar because I was under the impression that white chocolate was healthy, then put my life at risk by running across the A13 and knock on Robert's door so we could have a quick kickabout before school. I loved it, and it wasn't long before I started to realise that I was good at football. I could feel it when I got the ball in the playground, dribbled past all my opponents and scored. It was obvious that I had something extra, and my first taste of proper football came when my mate Bradley's dad saw me playing on the field one day. "Mark's pretty good," he said to my old man. "Do you want to bring him down to training for Barking Colts?" I didn't need a second invitation. I was only 8. Bradley was a couple of years older than me, but I wanted to test myself. I went along for training and didn't look back. The only problem was that the guy in charge said he didn't have space for any more players. Bradley's dad had to convince the coach to make room for me, and I made sure his generosity did not go to waste, playing well enough to convince Barking to sign me up. Little did I know that my career was now underway. I was, however, obsessed with improving my game. I just loved playing football and was focused on succeeding at Barking. I enjoyed going to training and I was buzzing when they asked me to play in my first five-a-side tournament. I was so excited, although my emotions must have been all over the place, given that the first thing I did when the game kicked off was take the ball and start taking players on, only to realise that I was running in the wrong direction and was heading towards my own goal. I have no idea what I was doing. Dad was baffled on the sidelines, but nobody gave me a hard time about it. Playing for Barking was great, even though we weren't particularly good, because I had all my mates there. It was different when I started to play for a team called Lakeview. I didn't know anyone, and although I was the best player, I felt like none of my teammates wanted to pass me the ball. Did they not like me? It feels stupid now, but I was quite insecure about how people perceived me when I was younger. I was nervous about meeting new people, and I needed some convincing when I had an opportunity to leave Lakeview.